On 96.7 The Eagle.
Time now for Pet Patrol here on 96.7 The Eagle. And great news, we have no lost or found pets to report to you. But if your pet runs off or you find somebody else's lost pet, call 219-362-6144 to report that lost or found pet for the next Pet Patrol. Pet Patrol airs throughout the day, Monday through Friday, as part of your update news, and it's absolutely free. That number again for Pet Patrol, 219-362-6144.
Your number one source of news and information in LaPorte County is 96.7 The Eagle and HometownNewsNow.com. Welcome to Sound Off on 96.7 The Eagle, LaPorte County's original social media. Sound Off is a public interest forum that encourages your voice to be heard on the topics and issues impacting our local communities. For the next 30 minutes, we invite you to be part of the conversation by calling 219-362-0522. And you can now text your questions to the Liquor Vault on-air line or by email to soundoff@967theeagle.com. This is a topic-based program, and we ask that you keep your comments brief, concise, and related to the topic being discussed. The views expressed on Sound Off are those of the hosts or callers and do not represent the opinion of 96.7 The Eagle, Spoon River Media LLC, or the sponsors. The Liquor Vault on-air line is now open for your calls or texts at 219-362-0522. This is Sound Off on 96.7 The Eagle.
Hello, friends. Welcome to Sound Off today. It is Monday, September 26th. My name is Nate Laux. It's good to have you on the show today, listening to another episode with your candidates. Throughout the election season, we are bringing you a front row seat to meeting your candidates who will be on the ballot this November. We know there are many Republicans, there are many Democrats, but most of you, if the statistics hold nationally, are not a part of a party. You are electing and voting for people that you believe are qualified to lead whatever position they're running for. And so we wanted to make sure that whether you're a Republican or Democrat or an independent or libertarian, I know you're out there, libertarians, that you have access to the people that are going to be making the decisions for you. As we say here often, local politics matters. Not only just, city politics, county politics, but your school boards, your state reps, all of these things that you might not think about every day, it does matter. And so we want to do our job here on 96.7 The Eagle and HometownNewsNow.com to bring you access to that. And honestly, it's been great to see so many people listening to the podcast, listening to the show, and contributing. And here's how you can contribute to the show today. Obviously, you're not in the studio, and we're not taking phone calls. Don't listen to the thing before this. We just haven't changed it. However, listen to my voice now. We are not taking phone calls. What we are doing, though, is taking your texts and taking your emails. So if you have a question, 219-362-0522. We have two guests. We just want to keep those questions to a minimum. And so we're not taking the phone calls because I'm not going to lie to you, some of you meander even worse than I do. And so we wanted to get right to the point. 219-362-0522. You can text me. You can email me at soundoff@967theeagle.com. Don't be afraid to send those questions, and I will give them to the candidates. Any questions we don't get to during this show, I will present and I will email to the candidates, and they can either answer on their own social media pages or however they want to deal with it. Some candidates have done that and some haven't. Well, however they want, but I will make sure they have the questions so that when they go out and about, they know the questions that our listeners and their voters are asking. So on today's show, LaPorte County Council District 3 candidates, Mark Yagelski, the incumbent Democrat, and Deb Vance, Republican. Hello, welcome to the show.
Hi.
How are you?
Hi, thanks for having me.
Yeah, it's good to have you. So we'll start with Mark, the incumbent, Mark Yagelski, incumbent Democrat. Tell me, Mark, tell our listeners a little bit about yourself and why you're choosing to run for re-election.
Okay. My name is Mark Yagelski. I've been working now at the mills for like 46 years, a long time. Married for 40 years with 2 children. LaPorte County has been my home from day one. I enjoy working with people. I've always wanted to get into politics. I helped other campaigns when I first started out, and then slowly worked my way in. Somebody said, "Well, you quit talking. You go ahead and do it yourself." So I did. If it wasn't fun yet, I wouldn't be doing it. I'm still having a good time with it, and I still have the drive and the energy to want to continue to do it.
All right, moving on to Deb Vance. Tell me, Deb, a little bit about yourself and why you're running.
Well, Again, my name is Deb, and I have been in LaPorte County, well, probably off and on my whole life. I have family that roots here, and I raised my family here with my husband, and have worked in a lot of different positions and given 100%. And I really love to help people. And so having watched and seen some of the meetings that we have for the county council, I feel like I can bring some things that are new. So and again, helping people is the biggest part of it. Is just being able to help the people of our county.
Now, I'll go with Deb, then I'll go to Mark after this one. Now, Deb, you did say you think you can bring some things that are new to the county council. What are some of those things that you think are unique to your candidacy or your person that you can bring to the council?
Well, the one thing that I've been focusing on is budget. Having worked for a local college and worked for 4 campuses, and I had to be responsible for ordering things and make sure you got the best deal. That's always a big task. So just watching some of the meetings and how things are brought before, and they're asking things, and I wonder, can we put together a working budget? Because as a county, we need to know what we're spending. So if we can put together, and I know sometimes that's difficult, and I think I had somebody tell me, that can't be done. They don't do it that way. Well, one department did it this last budget meeting, and I was so happy to see that, because I think if we can at least look at, here's what we know we have to have. Things come up, we do know that. Come and ask us for more, but rather, here's what I think I need, I'll ask you for more later. So I think if we can kind of help them to be more realistic, then we as a whole county can, I think reach more, if we know what we're looking at.
All right, Mark, what about you? Again, you've been on the council for a little while, but what do you think you uniquely bring to the council, your voice on the council brings?
You know what? Being frugal. I mean, one time we almost had our little Polish group, Lois Sosinski and Rich Merzinski, and we had our little joke about it. But the Polish culture tends to be a little bit frugal. In LaPorte County, they grew up in this area, being poor and doing what they did. Sometimes a lot of people don't like that. I've had people go, "Really? Can you give it a break?" It's been one of the things that it's my stronghold. I inquire about the budgets and find out the purpose they have to have it for, not just necessarily, I want it. What do you need? What are your needs? And maybe I can help you get it done with less money. And we've actually worked that way. With the computers that happened, 20 years ago, it changed from having to the phones we have now. And that from before we didn't have any access to it originally. So it's just something that I think that I have the ability to work on. So
we've got LaPorte County Council District 3 candidates, Mark Yagelski, who's the Democratic incumbent, and Deb Vance, who's a Republican. If you have a question, please just text me, 219-362-0522. Again, 219-362-0522, or you can email me at soundoff@967theeagle.com. A question for you, Mark, going your direction right now. So, obviously, we've talked often on this show about the public income tax, the increase that happened here, and I know it's a slight increase. It's not huge. However, it is an increase, right? And nobody, especially in election time, loves to talk about increases. However, you were I think you were the only vote on the council that voted against the public income tax. Right. Why did you vote against that? And, maybe take our listeners through, what you were thinking in there.
Sure. Both my brother, Chris Yagelski, who's been a police officer 43 years. My son's been a police officer for 15 years here in Long Beach. There's, by all means, this is a very important subject matter to me. But we've got federal dollars that came to us that the COVID money and everything, we haven't even come close to spending yet. And what I wanted to do is I'd like to stay focused on the stuff we have. Now we're kind of like mixing the money back and forth. We've already talked about meetings get very confusing with all this. Which ones are coming out of? You kind of lose the contents of what the money value was in the first place. Again, I said in my vote, I'm not opposed to lit tax, not at the present time. I thought that the county should be able to work through the money that we already have. Again, one in the federal money is $26 million. We haven't even got touched on that yet, so we have to go through that program.
So to clarify just real quick for our listeners, so you were more in favor of saying, let's use some of this COVID money we got towards this purpose, and then if we spend that money or whatever, then we can figure out if we need a tax increase.
Right.
Is that right?
Absolutely.
All right. Now, Deb, you weren't on the council, obviously, at that time.
Right.
But I'm sure you know about the public income tax and things like that. How would you have voted if you were on the council at the time?
Well, as a taxpayer, I'm one of the people who don't want to see taxes raised. Of course, nobody wants to see that happen. But personally, I believe it is a good thing because we do need to be competitive. Knowing that we're down at the E911 and we're down at the sheriff, we see them going other places because, so I would say because that is used specifically for safety, that is a good thing. But then I think would it also then open up the funds that we have to use in other areas that maybe we have some shortcomings.
So you would have voted
I would
for
have, yes.
the
Yes.
public safety tax increase. So let's we've got Mark Yagelski and Deb Vance on the show. Both of them are running for your county council in LaPorte, District 3. If you have a question, please do text us at 219-362-0522. We'd love to hear from you today. You can also email me at soundoff@967theeagle.com. Here's a question we received through our text line. I'll start with you, Deb, and then I'll give you this question as well, Mark. When a taxpayer works hard to improve his property to possibly retire or sell to move, should the county take every penny of that improvement instead of looking for ways to shrink the cost of government? Now, I know this listener, and I know it's an important thing for them to say, how come, as technology has improved all these things, the size of our government locally has not shrunk. So talk a little bit about what your belief is in shrinking maybe some of the departments, shrinking the size of government, these kind of things here locally.
Oh, because I wasn't quite sure where you were going with that question. Shrinking government. Well, I think sometimes having programs on government may be that we shouldn't have that. But I think in the local government, it's important to have people who live here and understand how things work in the county, can be the representative for people. So I think it's important to have the local government in place. As far as shrinking, I don't see any place that I would say we need to shrink it at this point, because I think it's important to have your local people there for you that you can come and talk to. That can then get you in touch with the right people when you have issues. Yeah.
All right. Thank you, Deb Vance. I'll give you that question, Mark.
Sure.
Again, you said this just a couple minutes ago. You've got a Polish background, obviously. I teased my cousin who's also Polish about this. It is a common trope. What are your thoughts on shrinking the size of county government and also just being cognizant of that kind of stuff,
Okay. I was instrumental in quite some time ago into when John Jones was on Terry Garner and Ludlow and them. We did a hiring freeze. Michigan City, LaPorte City did not. We did it almost 18 years ago. The problem with shrinking government, it sounds good, but we maintain government. And the reason why we maintain it is because we don't have a great population growth. The gentleman or the lady, I don't know who it was, but
it's a gentleman.
The gentleman has to understand there's no fault of our own did we raise any of the taxes up. It happens because the value of your home goes up and things of that nature. What really happens is we have 110,000 people 20 years ago in LaPorte County. We've got about 111,000 people right now. Michigan City has 35,000 people, 34 some change. It's still the same thing 20 years ago. We don't have the advantage of St. Joe County, Porter County, Lake County. Homes are being built continuously. Their values are going up and more tax dollars are getting generated through that, so they're able to keep their costs down. We have, without going too far off subject, those are the situations that happen, example, if we're trying to give raises. They'll say, well, look, I can get more money over here or get more money over the other one. You might be able to travel every day to go to Lake County, but, a lot of these people are from LaPorte County that work in LaPorte County. Very few people are not there. You have to try to maintain government at least, and I don't believe shrinkage is always the right answer to that question.
All right, I'm going to ask one more question, and then we'll go to our first break. We'll start with Mark this time, then we'll go to Deb. We've got LaPorte County Council candidates for District 3, Mark Yagelski, the incumbent Democrat, and Deb Vance, the Republican challenger. So, Mark, you mentioned here population growth, and you're right. You're not the only one that has mentioned that. If you've ever listened to the City of LaPorte Mayor Tom Dermody, he talks about population growth all the time. They've got the plan here, 30,000 by 2030, obviously a large goal. It is happening, right? Porter County, Lake County, St. Joe County, our neighbors are growing. Is it important that LaPorte County figures out ways to grow, and how can we do that?
Perfect question, because honestly, here's what. I was on NICD for 18 years of the 20. I was taken off because at the end there was a lot of money being spent for the double track, And we have a Republican governor, and they did not necessarily want us to have the same authority for all the money being doled out to individuals. So we were taken off, not for anything for individual. But like, for example, that double track, that money's going to return itself already. Products of galore from Michigan City are going to pick up that housing development slash hotel slash $240 million. That's because of that. If you ask the owners, I said, the only reason why we're doing it is because we are getting that link to Chicago. Because we do have lower taxes, we do have lower property values, and people do want to come to that area, but they don't want to go on a train for almost 2 hours there and 2 hours back, spending 4 hours a day commuting back and forth. They would like to do it in an hour, and they think that's pretty reasonable time. I do also. So those are things that you can do as a council person with the money that we spent to promote ideas like that.
So you think, to clarify real quick, Mark, so you do think population growth is important? The county does need population growth.
Absolutely. And new housing is the toughest part about it. I think next to my opponent here, she's a realtor. I also have apartments also on the side. I'm telling you right now is that people are begging every day. I have 20 people a week call me for renting my house out. There is no good housing. There's no good starter homes. One time they used to build starter homes. You don't see that. And that's how people moved up from the 60s to the 70s. But it doesn't happen anymore. And the money right now is to build really nice, big, expensive homes. But as a person starting off, it's pretty hard.
Yeah, I'll give you that question too, Deb. Again, Mark mentioned you are a realtor. And so what are your thoughts on population growth? The other counties by us, adjacent counties, St. Joe County, Porter County, Lake County, all seem to be having some kind of growth in different ways, but LaPorte County doesn't. What are your thoughts? Do you think LaPorte County needs to grow, and how can we do that?
Well, I do believe that LaPorte County needs to grow, because we go back to how we're going to keep the people we have when they can go somewhere else and make more money. We have to build that tax base. And, Mark is right in saying, the double track is bringing things. There are several projects that they're working on in Michigan City that are going to bring in nice, big, beautiful condos and apartments. But again, we don't have that starter homes. Mm-hmm. So that is a big issue, is having, we got to bring the homes to bring the people. And we had to bring the jobs to bring the people. So we have to get together as a community and discuss what works out best, not whether we should be tourists because we have the lake, because that's not all there is to LaPorte County. We need to have discussions and find out what's best and bring it all together to make that growth come about. So.
All right. Well, thank you so much. We're going to take our first break of the day. Thank you so much for listening. It's a joy to have our guest today, Deb Vance, Republican nominee for LaPorte County Council District 3, and Mark Yagelski, Democratic incumbent for LaPorte County Council District 3. If you have a question, you're welcome to text me, 219-362-0522. Do not call. We're not taking calls today. We're just trying to get as much time with the candidates as possible. Also, you can email me at soundoff@967theeagle.com. We got lots of show left. We'll be right back here only on 96.7 The Eagle.
For over 50 years, LaPorte has trusted Cannon's Automotive Service for prompt, efficient, same-day service. And that same Cannon's commitment extends to area businesses who rely on a fleet of one or many to take your goods or service to the customer. Whether it's the truck or trailer that needs maintained or fixed, trust Cannon's Automotive to maximize your productivity with same-day service. Now with 2 Cannon's locations, 710 Tyler Street and 909 Boyd Boulevard.
With Cannon's Automotive, we fix everything.
Vote Fagan 2022. Who is Sean Fagan? He's a lawyer. He's a Republican. Sean Fagan, running for LaPorte County Prosecutor 2022. Sean Fagan knows that LaPorte County is a great place to live, and he wants to keep it that way. Sean Fagan for LaPorte County Prosecutor 2022. Be safe. Be strong. Let's work together. Vote Sean Fagan 2022. This message paid for by Fagan for Prosecutor.
Here's another job opportunity from HometownNewsNow.com.
Jet Fabricators in Michigan City is under new management, and their revitalization demands they expand. They offer competitive wages, paid holidays, vacation, health insurance, and 401k contributions. Jet Fabricators is seeking welders, fabricators, saw operators, and finishers. Apply in person at 230 Highway 12 in Michigan City.
This has been a Jobs Spotlight Extra. Look under Hot Topics at HometownNewsNow.com for job details.
Inflation is hitting everyone hard, some more than others. But if if you find yourself struggling with debt, wage garnishment, foreclosure, or lawsuits, Attorney David Ambers and his staff are here to help relieve your stress. A fresh start is just a phone call away. Call the office of David Ambers, Attorney at Law, and schedule your free bankruptcy consultation today. 219-325-9917. David Ambers, Attorney at Law, 601 State Street, Suite B in LaPorte. Call them today, 219-325-9917.
You're invited to RP Home and Harvest's huge one-year anniversary celebration sale on October 1st and 2nd. It's 2 days of family fun, plus tons of great savings with hot buys on firearms, grills, patio furniture, apparel, and much more. Bring the family between 10 and 2 on October 1st and 2nd for police dog and vendor demonstrations, food vendors, pet adoptions, balloon artists, prizes, and more. It's all happening on Saturday the 1st and Sunday the 2nd at RP Home and Harvest, rooted in the heartland at 4301 South Franklin Street, Michigan City.
Michiana weather.
Mainly cloudy this afternoon with a slight chance for scattered showers. High of 61. Northwesterly winds 15 to 20 miles per hour. Slight chance for scattered showers tonight, 46. From the Weather Center at HometownNewsNow.com. Right now, 60.
350 vehicles in stock now at Auto Park Ford. All at low Auto Park pricing. And get $2,000 off all new car orders. Auto Park Ford. AutoParkFord.com.
Your opinion matters. We invite you to share it by calling or texting the Liquor Ball on-air line at 362-0522. That's 362-0522. Now, back to Sound Off on 96.7 The Eagle.
Welcome back, friends. Good to have you listening to Sound Off today on Monday, September 26th. We've got council candidates for District 3, LaPorte County Council candidates, Mark Yagelski and Deb Vance on the show. It's just good to have you listening, again, engaging with the people that are going to be on your ballot this fall here, just not that long, actually. If you've got a question, don't call us, please. We're not taking calls, but we are taking your texts at 219-362-0522. So get those thumbs working and text us if you have a question. You can also email me at soundoff@967theeagle.com, and I'd be happy to read those questions for you as well. Here's a question for you. The bridge in Michigan City, the drawbridge, it's an expensive project, right? To replace the drawbridge, again, there's estimates that could be up to 30 to 40, 50 million maybe even, and it goes up from there, right? But it also is about $1 million a year to upkeep. They've estimated, and that could go up as well, as those parts are hard. Where do you stand? We'll start with you, Deb, and then we'll go with you, Mark. Deb Vance, where do you stand on the drawbridge in Michigan City? That is technically a county property. Mm-hmm. The county has to pay for that. Do you think there should be some kind of attempt to get it just fully replaced, or do you just keep going the way it's going?
Well, that's a hard question,
yeah,
because I think that it is quite a bit of money to maintain it. But I think before I could make that decision, I would like to look at other options on what we can do to do that. So maybe maintain it while we're doing a study to find out where areas we can pull funds to help then to replace it, because that would definitely cut off a good chunk of traffic coming in there while we were doing that. So I would definitely want to look at ways and areas to get funding to do that, and then, go from there.
And as council candidates in Michigan City area, you guys certainly know how important that bridge is to that area. So, Mark, I'll give you the same question.
Sure. This has been my project from day one. I went to the mayor at the time, Sheila Brilson at the time, and, asked for support and those type of things. And the city is reluctant because they have their expenditures they want to spend it on. But, this is going to be a large amount of money. I have been with Congressman Viskoski before, Congressman Van, to get money allocated for that, and that's what I'm still working on. This is a federal dollars type thing. We need that, or we're not going to be able to do the 50 million or whatever the number is. This isn't something that we could afford to do. So, I've worked with legislators before. I've gone to Washington and I've spoke with the transportation group, the congressman in Washington, and they understand the importance of the bridge. Everybody does understand it. One of the advantages we have now is Pete Buttigieg right now is the person that used to take the South Shore in and knows that lakefront area. So we have the right people, the right place right now. I believe all we got to do is capitalize it and try to get that money. By the way, yes, answer your question. Yes, replace it. I have a 65 Mustang convertible. I'd drive the car up and down the street. I wouldn't take it to California and back. The bridge is 100 years old. It needs to be replaced.
Yeah, when you talk about, as you guys both have mentioned, just the high price of the upkeep, it becomes a hard question, as you said, Deb. Here's another question, Mark. We'll start with you, and then we'll move to Deb on this one. So here's the interesting thing about the council: you get elected in a district, right? But you're a council person for the whole county. Right. And so issues that impact the whole county do come to your desk. You have to make decisions on for those in the South County, for those in LaPorte, even though you get voted on by a small group of the county. So I'm going to bring a question that's been brought up a few times on this program, and a topic that I know our listeners care about. So the mayor of LaPorte wants to do this corridor, get some truck traffic, get some through traffic away from downtown. Downtown business owners, Main Street Association would like to make it a more friendly downtown, a little more walkable, like Michigan City's downtown. But to do that is going to cost money, right? And so they've tried to work out with the federal government. As Mark said, you've got Pete Buttigieg in there. You've got a couple other people. You can get your phone calls answered a little bit easier right now. But whatever it is, it's going to cost the city some money. It's going to cost the county some money. And I've heard before on, let's say, a $120 million project that might be $10 million a piece or $5 million a piece, but it's going to be money. And that's, if it's money spent, that's going to come to the council. So where do you guys stand on a corridor or a bypass around downtown for people in the city of LaPorte? I'll start with you, Mark, and then I'll go to you, Deb. Yep.
I agree with it. I've worked with mayors back as far as county, Lee Morris and Kathy Kroback. They've all went in their offices and explained it. And I'm well understanding what they want, but the problem is the battle. As a councilman, I could say I agree. Would like to have it, but there's still a battle between the residents, and that not everybody's in favor of this. And I've heard both sides of the story. I've heard really good. This would work or this wouldn't work. We are the financial part of it, as a council knows. We are the money string. So when it does come to us, I have no problem with the support. It's just that it's not my fight right now with the general public. They have to get what they want first, and I may not, because I don't live in LaPorte, don't necessarily have the right answer for it. But you're asking my opinion, I would vote in favor of it. But again, we're the finance part. They're going to come to us much later. There's still a lot to work out between.
It will certainly come to your desk eventually. But
again, there's kicking the can down the road again.
Deb, I'll give you the same question.
Okay, well, thinking about that, I've been doing some reading up on it, and I know that's been a topic for decades, and I know that downtown LaPorte, I drive through there, it's beautiful. And, that's the kind of place that you want to be able to park and walk around and enjoy the shops, and it's beautiful there. But again, I don't live there, so I don't see the day-to-day issues that the business owners and the homeowners and everybody there. But I do believe it could be worked out. I mean, we have other areas. Maybe they could drive through Boyd Boulevard out in that way. Maybe they can direct some traffic that way. My one concern is, like you said, the battle going on between the landowners and the city, and they don't want to give up their land. And that's my background, and I have to agree. They got to be able to meet in the middle. So I think there has to be some discussion. Would I approve a corridor? I guess it would just really depend on the outcome of the study and what they work out. Because I think taking from one person to give to another is maybe not always a good thing.
We'll start this question with Deb, and then we'll go to Mark Yagelski. We got County Council candidates District 3 on the show today. If you want to, if you have a question, you're welcome to text me 219-362-0522 or email me at soundoff@967theeagle.com. Trying to get to as many questions as we can. So we've heard this question a few times as well. Typically, there's some advocates in the county highway department as well. But here's a question for you. Are our county employees on the lower tier of the pay scale compared to surrounding counties? And if so, what can we do to get the rest of the county? We've talked about public safety income getting up, but the county highway department, these other people, to a more fair wage compared to their surrounding counties.
Well, and that's... coming into agreement with the safety tax, then that, as I said when I was talking about that frees up some of the funds that were being used for that area to then could maybe meet some of those needs that those other departments have is for raises and that type of thing. So
So you're not
against it at all.
Yeah,
no. We definitely have to be competitive no matter what department we're in, because people are going to go and then we are down employees, and then somebody doesn't get their work done because they don't have enough employees to work it. So,
thank you so much. All right, Mark, I'll give you that same question.
Okay. I'm a liaison for the highway department. You brought up a good subject. Just recently, ad in the paper, NDOT hiring snowplow drivers $24 an hour. We pay $20 an hour. That's where we're having a hard time. But we also got to remember, though, that if we get everybody up to the mid to higher tier, is that the answer? No, because what's going to happen is, let me give you an example. Michigan City needed lifeguards, and we were paying, believe they said too low. So they came up with a substantial raise. Where they come from the Dunes Park and other areas. We're going to have here is going to be a bidding war of employment now. It's because I think it has something to do with the COVID and things got out of whack. But now all of a sudden, the NDOT, our working partner, they're going to throw $4 an hour more to pay that much. Now we're going to have to compete with that. It's going to be a tough battle. How do we do it? I think that we have ways. Like I think Deb had mentioned the fact that as we take things out of our general account, i.e., this cash, we can then give the raises. But if I give $1 million of raises this year, next year it's $1 million. 10 years from now, it's $1 million. That number purports itself over the time. It doesn't go away. So you have to make sure not only can we afford it now, can we afford it in the future?
All right. Well, thank you so much. We're going to take our final break of the day. You're listening to Sound Off right now. And again, we've got the LaPorte County Council candidates for District 3, Deb Vance, Republican, and Democratic incumbent Mark Yagelski. If you have a question, 219-362-0522. When we get back, we're going to ask the tough questions. All right. So keep listening. We'll be right back here on 96.7 The Eagle.
Ben Conowitz here, owner of LaPorte Seamless Gutter. My parents started LaPorte Seamless Gutter in 1982 with one goal in mind, really. Our customers' 100% satisfaction. And we are still providing the same customer service that Tim and Seal Conowitz started all those years ago. Give us a call today for a free estimate at 219-362-9972, or you can visit us on the web, www.lpseamless.com. 219-362-9972.
Hi, this is Rick Anthony, inviting you to join me for the Central States Manufacturing Second Annual Coats for Kids. It's happening Saturday, October 1st at 2051 Tryon Road in Michigan City. It's going on from 10 till 1. I'll be there from 10 till noon. Central States will be giving away winter coats to children pre-K through 12th grade. There'll be coats, giveaways, snacks, and, of course, the live broadcast from 96.7 The Eagle. Please join us Saturday, October 1st for the second annual Central States Manufacturing Coats for Kids. With me, Rick Anthony.
Hey, LaPorte County, Surf's fiber internet is more reliable and 25 times faster than cable. Get 1 gig speed and 2 free Eero whole home Wi-Fi routers for only $65 a month. No contracts and free installation at a price that's locked for life. That's right. The price you pay today won't jump up each year like cable. They are expanding to more neighborhoods every day. Visit surfinternet.com to check your address or call 844-955-SURF for details. That's 844-955-SURF. This is a limited time offer and restrictions may apply.
There's a lot of variety on the radio and at Domino's too. From pizzas and sandwiches to salads and pasta. Get a taste of variety when you place your order at your local Domino's in LaPorte or Michigan City. Order online, through the app, or call into your local Domino's store. And now with Domino's new Carside Delivery, you can stay in your car when you place your carryout order online at Domino's.com, and they'll carry your order to your car contact-free. Look for the 50% off Carside Delivery deals at Domino's.com.
Paul's Auto Yard in Westfield is paying top dollar for junk cars and scrap metal, including copper, brass, and aluminum. Drive it in or have them haul it away for you. Put some fast cash in your pocket and get rid of that junk car, running or not. Need a part for your car or truck? You can pick and pull from any of Paul's Auto Yard locations. Paul's Auto Yard has been in the business for over 45 years and will beat anyone's price. Hey, don't take my word for it. Give them a call today, 219-785-2613. That's 219-785-2613.
Dave, you guys built a new deck.
Oh yeah, it was easy.
It's on a bit of a slant, but I can live with that.
Yeah, you think? I thought it looked pretty good.
I don't think that railing's up to code either. So, are we just going to stand here, or can we actually go on it?
Oh no, I don't trust it enough to actually go on it.
No offense to Dave, but if you want the job done right, contact Powerhouse Construction in LaPorte. Decks, patios, or kitchen and bath remodels, Powerhouse Construction will ensure your satisfaction. Call 219-380-9981 to book a free estimate. That's 219-380-9981. Powerhouse Construction.
Thank you for tuning in to Sound Off. You can now text or email your questions directly to the studio. Call or text 362-0522 or email your questions to soundoff@967theeagle.com. This is Sound Off.
Welcome back, friends, to our final segment of Sound Off. Today on the show, we've got LaPorte County Council District 3 candidates, Democratic incumbent Mark Yagelski and his challenger, Deb Vance, who's a Republican candidate, having a great conversation about topics and issues that you care about so that you know who that you resonate most with on the ballot this fall, this November. Let's get back to some questions. Again, if you have a question, you can text me. Don't call. Text 219-362-0522 or email me at soundoff@967theeagle.com. Here's a question for you. We'll start with Mark and then go to Deb on this one. Mark, there's so obviously county commission candidate Connie Gramarosa has a billboard on this thing, and there's been a topic online and things about the county home sale. I'm
just waiting.
While the commissioners obviously, approve the sale as a county in a property, I know that the council had a part of the conversation and things like that. How, again, were you in favor of selling that? And for the $50,000 that it went for, is there something our listeners might not know, or how did you make sense of it?
Okay. When we had to shut it down, and we only had 3 people left at the very end, so you had 24-hour staff, so on and so forth. So it was a decision that had to be made. I know a lot of people said, well, we put new roofs on it. At the time, there was 15 people. Counties across all of Indiana, there was only 5 left in the whole state of Indiana, and we were one of the 5. So when we did shut down, deterioration happened very quickly. When you have a building that's not occupied, you probably know this, it happens like you. So in a couple of years that nobody was in it, downstairs, literally the plaster started coming off the walls. There was asbestos galore. I'm not going to be critical to the person that bought it, but I don't know how it got remedied, because I didn't see a lot of vehicles with the asbestos that had to be removed from there. It was on piping, on the walls, everywhere. The furnace was shot. Anyway, it was deplorable inside. We said, look, we got to get this off our hands. And I was in favor of selling it. But again, that process is not. The commissioners own the property. They own the vehicles. They own so on and so forth. All we can do is the financial part of it. We highly advised to put it up for sale. How it was put up for sale had nothing to do with the council. So I'm not trying to get out of it, but we didn't have the choice, nor did they ask us.
Question real quick on that. So from what I've heard, and I don't know if this is true, but there has been some asbestos remediation there already. I don't know if that's true. But if there was asbestos removed and there was no permit pulled to do that, couldn't you punish the owner of that property then?
The commissioners could file up against that.
Yeah,
the building.
I mean, the council couldn't, obviously, but yeah. So
yes.
Couldn't there be somebody?
Through our planning department and that, yes, could happen, absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, Deb, I'll give you that. You're a realtor. So how have you made sense of that? What do you think about the county sale property for $50,000?
Well, $50,000, in my opinion, at that time, I had done some research, and the commercial properties and land at that time were selling anywhere from $32,000 up to $375,000. So of course, you get to the higher price, it's a little more. But even fixer-upper homes were selling for more than that. So that would be where I would think I would have a problem. Now, I think it could have gotten more, maybe not in the auction process, but maybe had they got it out on the market, given a little bit more notice to the public. I didn't know it was selling till it was sold. Mm-hmm. So I think I can only speculate. It could have gotten more money, but I can't tell you exactly if it would have. I mean, yes, we needed to sell it. I just think it could have been sold, and maybe we could have gotten a little bit more for the county.
All right, this is a broad kind of, I think, question, but again, I'll give it to both of you guys. Can you ask why each of their parties wants straight ticket voting? Doesn't a straight ticket act like a rising tide? Why or why not? So are you in favor of straight ticket voting?
That's a hard
I'm going to
question.
get you
because
both. I'm going to
I
get you
know.
both in trouble with your
You
party
are.
chair people.
I'm just not going to answer that. No. Well, straight ticket. I feel it's there if people want to, because a lot of people, that's all they want to do. But then there's a lot of people who want to go in and they want to pick who they want to pick. You know, so I think it should be available, and if people are comfortable doing it, do it.
Mm-hmm.
I like to see the names out there
Mhm.
personally. So
Mhm.
I mean, I wouldn't say I'm against it.
Yeah.
You know, so
Sure. I'll give you the same question, Mark.
I'm in favor of it because of this reason. 20 years ago, there was Punch 10, and Punch 10 was a very successful program the Democrats put out. But if you look at the last election, there are more Republicans that voted straight ticket than there are Democrats. So it comes and goes with ways of that type of thing. I mean, it's like if I'm trying to sell myself and I get more votes or less votes than my opponent, I did a better job of selling it. It's a party uses as a tool. Now, I have no problem. If you ask me a question, I have voted for Republicans. Yeah, I have friends on both sides, and I'm not against or opposed to do that. But it also it's just a tool for the party to use. And the key right now is not that. You know, at one time you could only go to like schools and churches, and I could stand out there and I could meet people. Now, since everybody's doing online or other areas that are able to do it, or mail-in ballots, or coming on Saturdays, we don't have that one-on-one. It's less time for me to sell myself, if that makes any sense.
Sure. Yeah. All right. Well, this is our final question for you both. I want to thank you so much. It's been a joy to have you guys both in the studio today. Deb Vance and Mark Yagelski, candidates for LaPorte County Council District 3. Deb, I'll start with you, and then I'll work with Mark. What do you want our listeners to know? How can they contact you? Things like that. Why should they vote for you? Go ahead.
Well, I just feel they should vote for me because it's a new perspective, new ideas, a new voice. I'm a person who likes to help people. I'm in the community. So I'm in LaPorte County. I'm a realtor in LaPorte County. I see what goes on in LaPorte County. And this is my home and I love it. So I want to see the best for this county. Mm-hmm. So, this is why I'm asking for their support, and they can get a hold of me through my email. I mean, if they want to, can I give my email?
Yeah, absolutely.
And if you want to, you can just email me at debvance.realtor@gmail.com.
All right, great. Well, thank you so much for being on the show, Mark.
Thank you.
I'll give you the same question for you.
Sure.
Why should people vote for you, and what do you want our listeners to know?
Okay. Let's just know that a show like this is good because when I first came on the council, we used to have the media table, and we had all 3 radio stations, both newspapers. And when we were done, we were asked serious questions. Mark, how did you vote this way? Why did you vote this way? And you had to give an answer because you were in the next day's paper. Mm-hmm. They had to make it. This is good for because we're losing a lot of this, and I can tell you, I'm in favor of having media ask questions and stuff like that. So, with that, again, I believe that I have the experience and the knowledge. I believe that I mentioned already that I've worked to acquire friendships through state legislators, through our federal government, and it's going to take that to get the extra dollars like we just seen to spend for like the bridge you brought up. So my email is myagelski@comcast.net. And Deb, good luck to you.
Thank you. Same to you.
Well, it's been a joy to have you guys on the show today. Again, so much